So when you start up a WPF application, you just go to File New Project. You want to select the WPF browser application. It's a Windows Presentation Foundation browser application. Go ahead and click OK. It should create a files on the right side Solution Explorer. It's called XAML is what the format is. It's a form of XML file for web. Has a panel in here that basically when you first start this, you can just hit play, hit the play button here, and it'll start the application, the web application. It'll launch your default web browser. Mine's Firefox. Nothing in here right now on mine, but it does give you some navigational tools here at the top. So this is good for building internal applications for a business. So I'm going to go ahead and show you one that I've been working on here, just a real quick example. This here is a greeting and also a calculator. And basically I just put a label, text box, and button for the greeting. The calculator, a label, text box, combo box, text box, label, text box, and a button. And to add objects onto your project, here's the new one here. I'll just show you real quick. On this one, I'll go ahead and do the calculator. You're going to go ahead and throw in a label onto that XAML page. It's a little different feel. That's why I wanted you guys to do this week, just to play around with it. The properties are totally different than what you're used to in a Windows application, but it's good practice for you because it's good for even Windows application developers to know how to develop something in a Windows application. So this I'm going to just title LBL title. Then I'm going to put the content is the content of the title. I'm going to put in here calculator. And let's go ahead and throw in here a text box and for the calculation part. We'll make it about that size. And I'm going to do a Control C and a Control V to copy what I've just created. Put one over here. I want a combo box in the middle for the user to choose what type of calculation they're going to apply here. So I'm going to put a combo box here in the middle. Make it a little wider. Then I want a label to the right of that, and then a text box. Labels just for label purposes, so I'm not going to worry about naming that right now. But I am going to put in a content the equal symbol. And if you do need to widen the form here, you can do that, the grid, just like so. You can widen this grid to fit your need. There we go. Alright, and then let's go ahead and put a text box to the right of that. This is going to be the total. And then we need a button underneath this. And I'm going to go ahead and Put a button in there. Looks like I clicked on a label. There we go. Much better. All right. Let's go ahead and name this one BTN Calc. This first I'm going to name TXT Num1. The combo box CBO Math. Second text box TXT Num2. The total TXT Total. Go ahead and save it. When you do a save all, it will prompt you to save it. As always, just all Visual Studio projects, when you create a brand new one, it's going to always put it in your My Documents Visual Studio 2010 Projects folder. I'm going to go ahead and name this one Week 14. What I want is here, I want to put some content in this drop-down box. So I'm going to click on the combo box, go to the items property where it says collection. There's an ellipsis button. I'm going to click the add button and just have to type in some content here. The first add in the content area, I'm going to put a minus, add again. I'm going to do a plus, and this is going to be in the drop down for the user. Then a times, and then finally a multiplication or division. Go ahead and click OK. And now we have the basic form built here. And now we can go into the coding part of it. I've already created this earlier for code, so I'm going to use my code from my other app here. We'll go over that. So double click on the button to get the click event. We're going to declare a variable. Calc is a string. Dim num1 is double. I'm going to double the text num1 into a double conversion. Num2 is double. Convert that text box to double this way. And then whatever they've selected in the combo box is going to be put into the string. And I used here, instead of text results, I believe I used text total, so let me rename that. I've got a case select here. So if it's a plus symbol they've selected, it's going to sum it. If it's a minus, subtract it, times, divide it. And that's about it as far as code-wise goes. So again, declaring three variables, select case. Now let's go back to our design form. You can actually go in here, and it also has within here ways to color this form. So this is a web app. You can play around with that if you want to. Again, you don't have to be too fancy with it, but you should have a back color or background that you can choose. Prefer like a pastel type background, lighter background. What's cool about it is as you put your mouse here in the palette, it will give you the color that you're choosing that your mouse is actually over. So let me go ahead and choose here a lighter color. We'll go with that one. You can also resize your form to fit the web application that you're building. I'll go ahead and do that with this one. Save it. The page, I want to name this one. I'm going to name it Calculator. And go down to the title and calculator as well there. That'll show up in the title bar. Everything else we'll leave as is. So to get to that form level, basically, or to the page name, you click outside of that grid on the gray area, and here's where you can name the property of the actual page itself and the title of the page. Okay, so go ahead and save that. Let's go ahead and run and test it now. Okay, there's my simple web application. Notice it's showing up in the middle of the page, the same dimensions I had earlier. I'm going to go ahead and put in some variables here. I'm going to put 3 minus 3. And there we go. 3 plus 3, 3 times 3, 3 divided by 3. One thing I've left to change here is this button. What's nice about it is you can actually leave this up in front of you, go back to your form, stop the application. I'm going to go back to this button, content, and type in calculate. Save it, compile it again. There we go. Do it one more time. Alright, looks like all that's working. So that concludes the web page using WPF and the web browser application. And this is week 14. And since it is submitted late here on this podcast, I'm going to give you guys through Wednesday of next week to finish this. Wednesday of week 15 to finish this. So again, this is a podcast on week 14 on creating a WPF browser application. And the Dropbox, since you did create this from scratch, it will be loaded in your My Documents, and it'll be in your Visual Studio 2010 projects. And it should be here in this area here. And there is my week 14 that I just created. And so what you'll do is you'll submit to me, as always, the zip folder of what you've called it. If you called it week 14, that's great. And you'll submit that on week 14 in Eagle. Have a great week.